This is Doc, aka Teddy Longanisa, aka the Dim Sum Don, aka you know what it is. It's the Flanimal Bautista. I'll walk around the fire pit of lechon, aka the Big Hun Killer, Randy Otap, aka Big Match Jan Cena Gang, aka the Good Bar Boy, yeah, aka I Love You Solo Suka, aka Jacob Puto, all gas, no brakes, yet I mean, aka Magandang Umaga, aka Cassius Claypot Rice, aka the Invisible Pandesal, Don Calamansi, aka you know what it is? It is yeah, I'm chopped real smooth now. Dun, 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 dun. Turn it out. AKA Cherokee the Aswang. And blessings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna introduce you to somebody, to the congregation. We got here, this man is a music producer. He's an MC. He's a very, very distinguished gentleman. We got here one of the most prolific black, and I say black with all the love, podcasters in pro wrestling. We got one half of One Nation Radio. We got Rich Latta. Welcome, brother.
Hey, what's going on, Doc? Glad to be here, man. Long time coming, and excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, man. Usually I start off this with high energy, trying to do stuff because I know the Rich Lotta style, the RLPW style is like coming out with the high spots off the rip, but yeah. I'm gonna teach these devils. I'm gonna teach these devils a little bit of history because a lot of the time people don't really go over history, so I'm gonna go over history just to like set it off, So like in 1888, there was the Filipino-Spanish War, right? And then, America, McKinley, that our white saviors came to help us win the war against Spain, right? And we actually won the war. General Luna, he actually got the Spaniards to quit. But the Spaniards, they don't respect us because we're brown people. We're not their betters. We're underneath them. Because for centuries we were their slaves. They brought us on the galleons, they even brought our asses to America. We hopped off. We went to Louisiana. had to create some of those dried shrimp over there. That dried shrimp business in Louisiana. That was from us. But I digress. So in 1899, what had started was because my Filipino peoples, we did not want to be ruled by America because Spain had sold Philippines to the Americans. And so there was a resistance that built up. This is called, I'm not sure we even had this in our American history books because I know I didn't read this. It was called the Filipino-American War. And during this war, they had Buffalo Soldiers unit. Buffalo Soldiers, of course, is made up of the African American people who were, they were now free men. They had fought in the Civil War. They were just being used as, they were used in front of the lines. And, one of the generals at that time had said, burn them, kill them, however much more you can kill, that pleases me. And there was one particular soldier, David Fagan, who that did not sit right with, because he was told to commit atrocities, and he was downtrodden, mistreated, treated inhuman, and he thought, this fucking sucks. I'm gonna jump, and he met a beautiful Filipino woman, they had children, and he decided to get swept up in the Filipino revolution. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, there's two sides of this. When there was multiple Buffalo soldiers who had actually jumped ship, there's also some white soldiers who had also jumped ship because they were sick of committing the atrocities. But I'm gonna focus on the Buffalo soldiers. So war happens. Of course, America wins, but America decides they want to take the heads of like the black soldiers who had, turned their backs on America. Like turn their backs on America. Uh, I stand with Muhammad Ali at how what he said. Rich could say it, I can't say it, but like
Ain't no Viet Cong ever called me, you
yeah,
know.
and like we the legend goes actually David Fagan they had faked his death, and the head they sent was just like of another burned dead victim instead of his, and he goes off to live with his peoples in the mountains. And in Filipino culture, our mountain people are called Igorots. That's the native people there. They have curly hair, they have dark skin, they got flat noses. Basically, they kind of, in our culture, we call them the black people of the Philippines, black mountain people. Igor kind of translates to black, and like, yeah, that ties me into this. Like, I always felt a camaraderie with any of my friends that were black, because I feel like we have a lot of shared experiences, and I feel like one of the most universal languages in our modern world since the 80s has been like hip hop music in general, because there's a lot that's linked up to it. I always credit like any kind of music, whether it's punk rock, heavy metal, rock and roll. Of course, I love R&B. I'm Filipino. I love R&B. I gotta sing on the karaoke. I always credit that to the black forefather, the African American forefathers who came up. Like Chuck Berry, all of them, like just they came up with the music. Muddy Waters, all that, and like I always felt like there's always a kinship there between our peoples, and like how I grew up like in LA, and like there's a lifestyle there, and it's just I I always felt that there's a shared experiences between our cultures, and that's why I always had like my best friends were all like, and that's like a fucking I hate saying that because that makes me sound like a fucking like tool. All my best friends are black, but like it's true. All my shout out to my homies, you know who you are. I'm shouting you out. I'm not giving names out because we don't give governments here. No, 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 no. So yeah, man. I just want to welcome to you to the show, and like I just wanted to teach these devils about like some history and like how and why a lot of I have these ideologies in my head about the relationships between us Filipino Americans and African Americans, because a lot of people don't know. So.
Yeah, I remember when I moved out to California in my younger days. I moved out there probably when I was like 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. And I didn't even know what a Filipino person was. Like, I was from Massachusetts, and it's black folks, white folks, Puerto Rican folks there. But it was a culture shock too. And I lived in Huntington Beach and Westminster in Orange County. So it was like, oh shit, like there's so many different kinds of like people that I was around. I was just like, I have no idea about your life experience or your background or anything. And it was really cool to like I remember I had Mexican homeboys, I had Indian homeboys. Like when I say Indian, I mean like out the tribe, not like the country of India, like Filipino folks, like. And it was always something that made me a little bit more worldly. So California is an entire different country itself from the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. That's because like during the 80s and during the 60s there was this whole big movement of immigration. I believe Lyndon B. Johnson was part of that, about having people who come over from like all over the world who have like college degrees and all that. Fortunately, like I had family that were like, college professors and all that. So they one of my in my hometown in the Philippines, we call it Sinait. Our sister city is Carson. Carson is hood as hell. But like, shout out to the Usos. Shout out to my peoples. And like, it's a thing, like I gotta look at like the history of it because we're brought over here like pretty much as like workers. Like even if I go back to like post American Filipino War, we're brought in here to work on the farms or we come out here like to be our servants because like we're the barbers, we're the cooks, we're like cleaning your houses. I mean, to this day, it's kind of it's kind of still like that, depending on where you got them. But like, there is this thing, right? Because there was the yellow peril. There's always the black peril, and what's it always about? It's about like the white man being afraid that we're gonna take their white women. Now that's like the main thing. We even see that to this day still. Like they're still afraid of it. And like it came to the point like we got pushed out, same as y'all. When they're like, I'm gonna hit this thing here, because like in the '60s they said we had integration, right? But like segregation never stopped. If you go to your cities, you got the Koreatown, you got Filipino town, you got the black part of town, you got the white part of town. It still exists. It still exists. I'm happy that people are more open to eating every kind of food because I love Jamaican food, I love Chinese food, I love Southern food. If I go to a Creole restaurant, I'm happy. Rice is rice. And like I always thought like because of coming from different backgrounds in California, there's so many people with different backgrounds, and I meet all of them, right? And if you look at my friend group, if you look at my family who married into my family, it's always going to be like a whole, I don't want to say melting pot because we don't meld into each other. We become all different pieces of something. I like saying we're like, my family is like a mosaic and a representation of like what it means to be like American, because it's not just like, we're all just trying to be one thing. We're all coming together to make something else. And it's cool. It's cool as hell that, you came over here, you had that a little bit of experience, because I know like you came here, you live in Massachusetts, you live in like Florida. I know like you're in ATL right now, so like it's cool to see like right now like how people are all kind of rising up, because like you get like acts like say like Bruno Mars, or you get an act like Olivia Rodrigo, and they're blowing up, right? And before there was them, there was always like the black artists who like rise above and they become like for me, I know you love them because I love Usher. I love Usher. And like to have like someone that looks like you like get to those kind of levels of respect and like mainstream notoriety, that's like a feeling like I can't describe it, because I know like because like Filipinos ride for whoever's Filipino, part Filipino, married to Filipinos, we will ride for them. But like just seeing like someone that kind of has like your background ish, that always feels good. And like I said this on multiple podcasts, and I know it sounds cheesy, but it like when I see it like Usher or like even Omarion or like even Kendrick, when Kendrick doing the Super Bowl, I was happy because I'm from LA, and like seeing him like hit so big and be like, yo, this dude called Drake a rapist on on TV on the Super Bowl. Super Bowl. So like seeing like because like I always like whenever I see someone from LA, California like hit like that, like I'm always like proud, because like I'm like, that dude's from LA. I'm happy that he put Tams on. Like there was Tams on like when they had the Super Bowl here. They had that like Tams burgers on the thing with like Snoop and all them. I was like, man, like they're really repping the city hard, and I'm like, it feels good. It feels good to be seen. Like it's good to see us is the phrase, and I know like it's cheesy as hell, but it's good to see us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, and you know, I think that when people see themselves in things, it is very inspiring. I know when I was growing up, I didn't really necessarily think of it so much as like, wow, I see Jay Z as a black person doing this thing. It was just like I see this incredible rapper or whatever, and I see something to aspire to, and then the further like you go along into it, you're like, oh, these are the battles these people face, and
Yeah,
then you gain more respect for that, over time.
yeah, um, yeah. I'm gonna bring this into wrestling because, like, growing up, both of us, we didn't really have that many like big main eventers, dudes like to look up to. Like,
Look, I was looking up to Shawn Michaels, the sexy boy.
yeah,
That was that was who I liked when
yo,
I first started getting in.
yeah, my dude was Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
If you leave me like, cause like sometimes like when we watch wrestling, we kind of look at like guys who kind of like either like feel like someone we like a dream that we want to like be, or like for like Mick Foley, I found a dude that kind of had like stylistic characteristics that I had. He talked a little bit funny. He looked a little bit funny. He was a fat dude, but like he connected with me in some way, and I just like it's just like sometimes you find this in wrestlers, and you say Shawn Michaels, Chad Frost. It's
Yeah, Jack Frost. I was like, yo, he's small, I'm small, the girl screaming for him, I want him to scream for me, I was all in.
yo, uh, yeah, man, he's the sexy boy. He got all those like people coming for him, like that. you know, even though like he wore that, those chaps that he like kind of
Look, I
took
ain't know
off.
nothing about that.
Yo, them earrings,
All that stuff his real different now. It's like, hold on,
uh,
bro.
hey,
This man was dressed like a YMCA. This man was dressed like a village person out here.
hey, cause like I go back and like like I go back to like that one Chappelle show, uh, Charlie Murphy's Hollywood Stories. Y'all were dressing weird back then, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we find ourselves like with this kind of thing, and the difference now, compared to like 30 years ago, because we see dudes like we got Swerve. Oh my God, the coolest dude on the planet. Swerve is like was like world champion. He's doing big things. He got that the answer two shoes, bro.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
pick them up. Bringing this back also to like the Filipinos. Okay, so Filipinos also are big sneakerheads. So we go off, we collect, and like those shoes are fire. Like I'm probably gonna wait outside like the line at like 6 a.m. in the morning and just wait for them. Probably some shit's gonna happen, but um, yeah, you got dudes like you got Swerve, you got Mercedes Monet, like I know like people aren't like with it, but there's Hurt Syndicate, but those are old heads. We'll talk about old heads in a little bit, and like it's cool to see that, and like for me like seeing like I know people talk about them like, but seeing like brown skinned people like freaking the Bloodline, like they were running WWE for like 5 years, and like when was the last time you saw like a group of like brown skinned thuggish looking dudes on top of like WWE? When did you see that? Like, no, usually they were like fodder to get like stunnered by like Stone Cold or like beat by you know John Cena, who would be like the bastion of thug life culture. You know.
Such a weird thing too, because like the whole Cena thing always is weird for me because like during his rise, I was not an active wrestling fan,
Yeah.
so I just would tune in. I was like, oh, they got this rapper now, and I was like, and I would hear the raps, and I'd be like, they're all right, but they're not like whatever. And then I would see like the Chain Gang and all this stuff, and I was
Yo.
like, all right, the theme song is dope, but like I thought his raps were whack. I was not into it at all from afar.
Yeah, you can't watch those 2004 raps anymore because they were all like not safe for work now.
Literally every single one of them, he says something like for lack of a better word, he says something gay in them.
Yeah.
Like as far as like you were doing this gay activity with someone else, or you look like you like this, or something like that. And I was just like, And the person who pointed this out was, my boy James, his little
Yeah.
brother named Daniel. Daniel's probably like, 4 or 5 years younger than us, maybe a little more. But he pointed out to us, and that never left me. Like thinking about like how all those those rats were.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, like, Rock did those things too, where he said like, shut up your candy ass, or like, yeah. But like, there was something. It's like it's part of like what was back then, like snaps and all that. It's always like,
Yeah,
because like I think Nicki Minaj said something about like, you know, I'm not gonna say the words because like I don't want that clipped, and then but like she said
you don't
something
want to get
about
canceled, Doc.
yeah, oh, well, okay, well, so she said something about like it takes a real something to say you got to S some D, and like
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, you know what, yeah, that's actually pretty true. Like you come out and say that, you got to be brave. But like if I think about it like this, like because like usually in wrestling we see like the white savior, for lack of a better word, right? You got your John Cena's, your Hulk Hogan's, even Steve Austin, or like I know this is gonna hurt some feelings, but Hangman Page, but but like we see usually in pro wrestling the main character, the protagonist of the whole thing is always gonna be blue eyes, pretty white boy as like the main character. So to see like for at least a little bit, for at least like most of 2024, to see like Swerve come up and be like the man, and like you know that hit for me because like I watched this dude from like CZW to Lucha Underground. I saw him create this whole persona. He had this persona before WWE, but like in NXT, he had like the whole Swerve thing like really hitting, and then it didn't happen for him there, and then wait a couple years and it happened in AEW, but like it happened like big, and like it's cool to see, man. And I know like I once I already grew up, I had little cousins, right? And in 2005 we had like two Filipino superheroes. We had Batista, because he came out with the flag. He has the sun. He has all those tattoos, and of course we had fresh Manny Pac, and it was cool to see like because like in our culture, for our people, like Manny Pacquiao was kind of like he was a cultural touchstone. Unfortunately, what he said later on in life, becoming a politician, kind of fucked all that up for me because actually in my family we have, I'm not embarrassed to say, we have multiple trans, gay, lesbian, all of them in my family. So like when he came out and said that shit, I was like, nah, fuck this guy.
yeah. I can imagine that'd be hard because like he just seems like such a cultural hero.
Yeah,
And then like I just remember hearing about that stuff, and I'm like, all right. I kind of chalked it up to like MMA, CTE brain,
yeah,
and shit like that.
yeah. That shit. Well, yeah. I'm like he's from like the south of the Philippines, and they're kind of like they're it's super religious
Very
stuff.
religious.
But
Yeah.
like if I look at the cultural thing of the history of the Philippines, there's like a whole thing about you know we have respect for the third gender. There's so many there's an acceptance of gays in the Philippines. Like one of the Tagle, he was like a nomination for the Pope, right? He's an advocate for LGBTQ rights in the Philippines. So it's always weird when I hear that come from somebody from my home country, and like to come out and say that's because I'm like, dude, the whole country is accepting the gays. Why are you saying this all of a sudden? Even the Catholic Church over there is like not saying the gays are demons and stuff like that. It's just weird. But to anyway, just to see like somebody that has kind of your cultural background, like, and coming up in America, specifically America, right? Specifically in America, and having that hit, it's like it's a whole other thing than if they were like, say, going through Canada or doing it in Japan. Although, if I ever see a black wrestler in Japan ever hit, I'm gonna be surprised, but you know what? Fuck
There was
that.
Bob Sapp,
There
but
was there was Bob Sapp, but you know what? Asia Kong, the best black wrestler of all time. I'm gonna say it. people don't know this, but Asia Kong's I think her father was African American or something,
Yeah.
and like people don't talk about that. I think I remember Kia Stevens. Awesome. I don't like saying the last name because she told the story about Kong wasn't supposed to be anything about like being Chinese. That was Kong was about being like, oh, you're like Donkey Kong, King Kong, and I'm like, I get kind of uncomfortable saying awesome, you know, yeah, because like that Japan isn't really like forward thinking with that stuff, especially in the early 2000s, 90s. You see some of those like Bob Sapp commercials where like he's sitting on a banana, and like
He's literally a gorilla out there.
yeah, he's like, yo, I mean, props to him for getting the paper, but like, I don't know, man. But maybe he thought like nobody's ever gonna see this shit, and
Right,
like
right.
then
It's similar to Hulk Hogan.
yeah.
You know, this WWF title belt is a toy. You know,
It's a
I only
trinket.
want the IWGP title.
Yo.
It's like, yeah, no one's ever gonna fucking see this. It's like '94 when that happens. They don't have computers or technology.
Yeah, yeah. And then YouTube happens, and then we see all them shits.
Yep.
It's like, oh man, that's not cool. But
Explain yourself.
yeah, man. I just love being able to have this kind of conversation with you. I knew. I'm gonna tell this little story, okay? So I'm not gonna give names. I'm not gonna name the discords, but like, so there was like this time period like in 2021 where like I was kind of lost of like looking for places to talk because I had kind of got shifted out of some discords, and one of the first places I found was Social Suplex, and like in Social Suplex, I found you. I mean, we were already talking on like other Discord. We were DMing back and forth. I was making jokes. You were actually getting the jokes that I was making because nobody else would like react to them, but you would. Cause, and like cause I love that kind of comedy, and like it's just like what I found in Social Suplex was just like because I know that's like a space that you, James, Joshua, and Jeremy all like kind of like came and congregated on, and like to see like all four of you is like people of color. Well, Josh, when it's convenient, he's not a person of color. I love you, Josh. I know you're the one that made that joke on my show, so I'm just like bringing it back to you. But like just to have that space, and like I don't feel like I have to like kind of hold back as far as like the references I'm making, because like sometimes you're in a wrestling space, and majority of the time it's like I'm gonna say it's a white space made by white people, kind of with a majority of white fans, and like your space at the time was like where I could make jokes about like Kid Cudi, or like fuck Kid Cudi with he had the car blow up, he had his car
Yeah.
blow up or something. I could make that joke and people would like know what I'm talking about. So like and like I just want to say thank you for that, man. Like you were like you welcomed me in, and like the jokes there was just like it's like an immaculate space for me, man. And I just want to say thank you for making that, man. It's a good feeling that like I always say this on every show, but like when you find your people and you're able to like talk to your people, it's like a freeing kind of situation, because like you don't have to like hide any part of yourself, and that's what I like about your space, man.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Like I think everybody like usually comes. I feel like because you know the kind of community we've cultivated, where we put our faces on it, we put our names on it, we try to like treat everybody with respect, how they kind of want to be treated. And, like I was like, I don't have any problem with Doc. Like when people would just be like, he's causes trouble. Da, da, da. I'm like, I like him. Like he's cool guy to me. So yeah, I'm glad you found comfort in coming to kick it with us, because like that's all we wanted to really do when we started jumping in and making these communities or whatever, where it's like, all right, we have public personalities, like
Yeah.
because like more people now kind of like know who I am than I know who is in said Discord or that listens to the shows, and I'm very grateful for that. But at the end of the day, we are all people.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you can come kick it, we're glad to have you. And I think the rule was just don't come kicking some fuck shit. Like really holds up. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh, I got you, man. They're like, because I know I said some crazy stuff before, but like, I, I, I just like, and I said this. I don't know if I said this to Jeremy and Floyd and I did say this to you in like the DMs, but like, y- for me to do this show, you kind of like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna release backstage information because, like you, when I started this, you were like, "Yo, make some shows, let me hear them," and like, because of you, man, I found something that I'm kind of passionate about now, and like, this is this is a space where before like there was a couple like Asian American like podcasters. Like, there was Al from Virtual Pros. Shout out to you, Al. One of my idols for like podcasting because they would have like the hip hop bumpers for their music and that was fire. And there's WH Park and Wei Ting. And I told Wei this and I told WH this like there's not a lot of us in this space and us I mean Asian American Asian Canadian people. There's not a lot of people like us in that space and I want to tell people this like Wei told me like he wants there to be a space for us. He likes that I'm putting this out there because like I think that having a representation in far as this space just to show like pro wrestling fans are in a certain way. There's so much diversity. There's so much that pro wrestling is kind of a universal language and who it speaks to. And a lot of the times, most of the voices that we hear about and the tastemakers and all of that is like usually just like some white guy. No disrespect to like the white man. Y'all write my checks sometimes, but it's just like it's like it's good to add some spice, add some like flavor, get some melanin in that in the space, and it's I like without you, man, I wouldn't have been inspired to do this, and like I gotta say thank you, like
oh man, you're welcome, man. I just think at least I can speak for when I got started in it. It was like I would just read like Bleacher Report or just all the old columns
yeah,
or whatever, and be like, man, I don't think these are that good. I feel like they can do more, or I feel
yeah,
like they can. Because like I'll read Bill Simmons, Bomani Jones, different stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't feel like there's this kind of voice or someone that can really do it. Because I looked, I was like, well, what happens when like Dave Meltzer dies or gets washed up or
yeah,
whatever? And this was like 10 years ago. I was saying this, maybe more, and I
yeah,
was just like, we have to be the new voices. And then by circumstance, it was like, I started saying, stuff like I started marketing One Nation Radio, like we're the blackest wrestling podcast, like kind of facetiously, because like I don't necessarily believe in the concept of someone being more black than someone else, but it was facetious or whatever, just to make people be like, oh, we all right, you see what One Nation Radio is? It's a black podcast, just two and two together.
yeah,
And back then, it was like it was the Wild West, and there were not a lot of people with podcasts, so um, it was hard to like and nothing happened for a long time. So
yeah,
it was just one at a time. So like if I could offer any advice to you, I would just say just keep recording it because you like to do it because that's ultimately like what we started doing. We liked it. We liked I met Jeremy on Twitter. Found out we lived like 20 minutes away from each other,
yeah,
which was crazy at the time. And he was already a One Nation Radio listener.
mm,
And then we combined forces. I was like, wow, you got this website and all that, like we've got this show, let's just make it all one. And then instantly we had like a bond, like kind of like ownership of like not wanting to have a boss over us but also being responsible with that quote unquote power.
yeah, yeah. I feel like coming into the space and trying to create your own space is commendable because the shows you guys put out, the variation in shows, you got people from all over the world. You got people from all different kinds of backgrounds. And now like you got like people like Tunnel Talk and I love Tunnel Talk so much, man. Getting the
Same.
female voice out there, because I know you had him one time like on your show, and I was like, yo, these white girls be spitting facts. Yeah, and
You'll
like,
love to hear that.
yeah, it was like, they call themselves you like all feelings, no facts, and then on the other side you got Trish and Sarah, all facts, some feelings, and like all love, man. It's all love from here because like I love that they're able to. When you listen to Trish and Sarah, like they cut the same kind of like their opinions, but they give it with logic and reason, and they deliver it in a way like I know it's kind of like a little bit messed up, but it's like you hear it from like your favorite like third grade teacher, and it's like Mrs. Whatever. That's kind of like the vibe I get from them when they like cut down like you know AEW and all that because or something like that because like it's just like yeah what they're saying is actually makes sense and like one of my big facets in life, thank you mom, thank you nanang, that's what I call my grandma, thank you my wife, I love you hun, is like happy wife happy life, always listen to all women and like take them into consideration because like if you listen to like podcasts or like some guys will say like what they said like hangman doesn't represent what masculinity is. I'm like, bro, like, like,
It, it's almost like the natural answer to that would be like, well, how would you know? Like,
yeah,
and I think, as far as the ladies that are on Social Suplex, I think it comes from wanting to value them as people first, because, like you mentioned, I too, grew up around all women, like older sisters,
yeah,
aunts, my grandma, my mom, and not a lot of men around. So it was like, of course, I want to hear and care about what women say, and before we found, Trish and Sarah and Tunnel Talk, this was a long time goal of mine. Like to be
yeah,
like, yo, we need not just one show with women, we need like multiple. And like honestly, I still want more. Like so I'd rather that than all these funky dudes that are putting out this pollution on a lot of airwaves everywhere.
yeah,
And it's like I think valuing them as people first was a huge thing, and then I can't really speak for them, but I think they feel comfortable to be themselves.
yeah.
So
Yeah. That's that's definitely what you want, man. You want to present a show that's as genuine as possible, and like, I've been releasing videos and like people kind of like I been getting like these emails from like randoms that've been telling me like, so when do you talk about wrestling? And I'm like, well, it's in there, but like we get to it, but
we
like
get to it,
we get to
you
it eventually. But like I'm trying to have a conversation with this person, and that's the gist of what I like to do. Is like wrestling is our icebreaker. Like if I never watch wrestling, if you never watch wrestling, we never be talking, and I think that's crazy. It could be any medium, but it's specifically pro wrestling, and to see like you look in the Discord, like there's everybody from every part of the world like talking, like some dudes from Czechoslovakia, some dudes from Portugal, dudes from Australia, like it's just South America, Mexico, like it's just like cool to like have all these mix of different people come in with all these different like weird varied opinions, and I talk to a lot of them. I think I talked to most every. I think I talked to every. I hit every show on your network because I talked to Floyd, I talked to Sam, I talked to Jeremy, I talked to Josh, I talked to Trish, uh, and I talked to Matthew Imp. I think I did hit everybody on your network so far. There's still some holdouts, but eventually. But it's just cool to like have all these people from everywhere, like, and we're all like congregating on this thing we call professional wrestling, and like I think that professional wrestling is like a universal language that because like it's so simple, even a caveman can do it, and like another part of kind of like universal language for me is music, right? Because I grew up I grew up in LA. I love rock music. I love Green Day. I love grunge music. My uncle is Mikey Nez from Alice in Chains. Uh, you know, you heard my little baby cousin's music on the SoundCloud.
Yeah,
SoundCloud.com.
I like his
Yeah,
beats, man.
yeah. SoundCloud.com/ Nico Angelo Music, MUZIK. Hit him up for any business inquiries or any like beats you need. This dude is a musical genius. And like I gotta give my family paper, you know. I like it's just there's something about like when it comes to hip hop where it it's just a universal language. And Paul Mooney said it. I can't say it. You can say it. You know, everybody. I can't say it.
Yeah, I know what she's saying.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to be. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So like,
Look up famous Paul Mooney line.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he goes ahead. When it comes to hip hop, R&B, the universal language is because you look cool, you dress cool, the fashion. Everybody like even in Germany they're dressing like a dude that wears like baggy pants, a belt, got the Ferragamo belt, got like J's on whatever number of J's it is, and everybody like wants to dress like it, and they be looking like Hook, uh, but and like when I look at the music for me, like I love West Coast hip hop. I love I love Ice Cube. I know that's an old head take. I love Ice Cube. I love Bone Thugs and Harmony. I love who doesn't love Biggie and Wu Tang Clan? Ain't nothing to fuck with. And like Wu Tang loved the whole Asian aesthetic, but like there was also some like Asian rappers up in there. You had what's it? You had that dude
Jin.
in Jin DMC, yo,
Bro, I love
backpack,
Jin.
yo. You watch 105 in Park. You watch 105 in Park for the Freestyle Fridays. Yeah, and like he was in there like killing it. He was killing the game every week, destroying dudes. And oh man, he hit on my wife. he hit up my wife on MySpace a long time ago.
Wow.
But that's but I met him, cool dude. He's still making music out there in like in like I think he's like in Hong Kong or China or something, making some music still. But like yeah, you get like dudes like that. That dude from Two Life Crew, I forgot his name. No disrespect. And like hip hop is like a universal language, and like some of the guys I love, like from like the Filipino American background, like I mean, there's Apple the App from Black Eyed Peas. Please, people, look at Black Eyed Peas before the year 2002. Not even 2002. You like before Fergie, because Black Eyed Peas used to make some like real backpack hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like Apple the App, and like one of my favorite ones is like Bamboo. And if you listen to Bamboo, Bambu, he makes a lot of like what do you call it? Like the same rap that Common does. There's like a term for it.
Backpack rap.
Is that Common backpack rap? Where you like you open your third eye and you talk about the
Yeah, I'd say so.
okay, yeah, because like he make like those he makes like songs about like like institutional racism, how our people would be like
Socially conscious rap.
yeah,
Different
socially
stuff like
conscious.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and I love that stuff too because like it kind of like opened your eye to like what are these like you know yeah like freaking Black Star having like this experience of like we're second class citizens because he made this one song that I was listening to like before we came on Samoan cricket bat about like how one of his usos like would carry a bat in his thing and he was just trying to like break up a fight but then if the fight is like between like a brown man and a white man who's going to jail and like that was really stirring I think the whole the whole BLM all that stuff and like it kind of hits because I'm gonna tell the story because I don't think I told this story before but when I was a teenager we were like walking like I think it was like maybe Laguna Niguel or something one of them rich white people beaches so it's me my two cousins I'm wearing FUBU Mecca baggy pants right and like all of a sudden this white officer woo and he pulls us over. We're just walking. And he says, "Hey, come here." And then he says that we fit the description of some, the whole thing, right? He fit the description, and then like we're cuffed. Thankfully, our uncle was walking behind us because he showed up at like he said, "Hey, what are you doing to my nephews?" Of course, like thankfully we have a white uncle, which shouldn't be thankful. That shouldn't be thankful. But like he came there, he's like, what the fuck you doing to my nephews? Hey, blah blah blah. Oh, sorry, sir, I didn't know. And like that kind of sat with me for like it still sits with me, because like we're just like I was just like 13, 14. We're just like 13, 14 years old, and like we get cuffed just because we don't look like the people who are usually there. Just and like we're lucky. We're the lucky ones. Who knows what would have happened like if our uncle wasn't there, and like that experience is like it kind of it changed like my whole thing. Like I couldn't trust the cops. Every time I heard like a siren or anything like that, I'd be dipping somewhere. I'd be like, fuck this. I couldn't like really function like thinking about it because like, and I know that like a lot of my black friends also had like the same kind of black and Latino friends also had that same kind of like experience when they got like pulled and they said like, hey, you guys just don't belong here. And I'm just like, I don't think people really understand what that experience means. And like to go through that as like a teenager is like, I hope my nieces and my nephews never have to go through that. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like one time, I remember I was at a bus station, probably when I was like 14 with my best friend Andre at the time, and I'll never forget it. It was like when I look back on it, it's like probably one of the like smoothest things I think a cop has ever done to like profile someone. So I can laugh at it now, but I just find it funny then. But they had a description for somebody. They were looking for all black with white shoes, right? That supposedly had a gun or whatever, right? Now, me and my boy Andre are coming back from, I think we're like freshmen in high school at the time. So we're not small dudes or whatever. We're around 6 feet. I'm probably about the same height now.
Big back dudes, sturdy dudes.
Yeah, I mean not we was fly. We kind of look a little older than yeah. We were standing like near this. I don't know. You ever see like when they close something up, they put the fence down, lift it up or whatever. We were kind of standing there. We were just waiting for our transfer, our bus, and then the cops come up to us and they're like, "Hey, can you help us lift this thing?" And then so we both kind of turn around and look, and help lift them. Whatever. Help the cops. They need help lifting something. I don't know. But then like they basically are like, "Don't move" or whatever, and then they start like searching us or whatever for. Like because Andre has the all black kind of with the white shoes on. I'll never forget. He had Portland Trailblazers warm up on, with like black jeans and then like white Uptowns or whatever.
That's fly as hell, man. That's a fly ass outfit.
So he's like I'm kind of just like watching, and he's like searching Andre or whatever. And I'm like, well, what the fuck happened? And then he tells us like, okay, basically apologize, like after searching us or whatever. And then he's like, we had the orders to get somebody with all black and white shoes. So I'm like, well, who called you to do this? We were just sitting there chilling. So it was just like, y'all couldn't like ask a question before. Y'all just wanted to jump straight to it. So it was weird. Let's just say that.
They always want to get kids. I call teenagers kids because they're still kids because we don't know what's going on. We just see a person of authority in a uniform because we're taught as kids like, respect the cops in uniform, whatever. But like, when I hear stories about like people teaching their kids, hey, when you go to the cops, make sure your hands are empty, that you're like all this, make sure you're compliant with everything. I'm like, that's fucking sad, man. That's a sad reality to be in. And like, it's just, it sucks that we can't like really. I mean, there's some good cops out there. There's some, but like it's just like it's hard to really trust people from that kind of authority and just like think that they're gonna be on your side because of like what had happened. And that situation, I'm sorry that happened to you, man. That fucking sucks,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, because it was more weird than anything. It was just
Yeah,
like, oh man, fuck y'all. Like that's kind of what it
yeah,
came down to.
yeah. That pretty much made me. My thing is like, I was already like listening to like fucking Rage Against the Machine, so now all of a sudden those songs hit harder that I just like to listen because they were hard, and then I listen to the lyrics, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, some of those that join forces are the same that burn crosses. It's true.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, man. And I know we keep talking about like teaching these devils, and but like there was a seminal movie that came out this year. I'm gonna put spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Ryan Coogler directed this fantastic movie, Sinners. We gotta talk Sinners, man.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I haven't got a chance to talk about it like on audio or much with anyone yet, so I'm
yeah,
pretty excited.
yeah. Sinners came out, and it is one of the like best movies I watched this year. Maybe it's one of my favorite vampire movies because I love vampire movies. I love Blade
Same.
One.
I'm a huge vampire guy.
Yeah, I love Blade One. I love Blade Two. I love John Carpenter's Vampires, even though James Woods is a piece of shit. But that movie is fire for me. I love. God, I even love like What We Do in the Shadows because that's like a mockumentary comedy. But anything with vampires, I'm with it because like something about it, like
On bunch of
yeah,
those.
yeah, Dust Till Dawn. Oh yeah, this movie had so many Dust Till Dawn, Blade kind of references in it, and I was like, yeah, that was the same dude, Delroy Lind. That was the same dude from Dust Till Dawn. I
Yep.
was like, yo, the moment I saw him like playing the harmonica, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be fire because this dude always fights vampires. And to me, spoiler alert, like having Michael B. Jordan played twin brothers, you know, kind of like the Parent Trap, or because I
Bro,
love
he did such a good job, bro.
dude
Like he
separating
did such,
them.
yeah, he did such a good job when one of them died. Like I was like, damn, he died. Like not knowing it's the same or not just remember
Yeah,
it's the same fucking guy. Like
yeah. It's just like I say, with good wrestling and good movies, it draws you in so much that like you just get into it. You forget because like if wrestling is good enough, like you forget that it's not like what's happening, and that's what I think how wrestling should be watched. It should be watched as like a movie or a TV show. But like in this movie, like when he was like, he got busy with Haley Steinfeld. It was like, damn, that fucking sucked. You seeing him all gushing and like you see like you see was it Smokes or Stacks?
I forget.
Yeah,
Like
well, okay, so blue Michael B. Jordan.
yeah,
Yeah, he was like holding his brother, and like I'm like thinking like, man, if I really like had my brother like that, I'd probably be the same. Like, no, don't touch him. Like, get away from him. I'm like,
yeah.
that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. But I'll start from the beginning. They open up with like the whole thing about like vampires, the music, and all that stuff. But I feel like the main crux of the story is, and where everything goes in is like, I guess at the beginning there's like a guy that's like a vampire because you see him running around in the sun and like he's kind of burning up.
He just falls.
He just falls. You don't know where he comes from. He just falls, and then he's being chased by like those Native American like soldiers, like not soldiers, vampire hunters, because they explained it like at the beginning they were vampire hunters, and he finds this couple. They open the door, and instantly you see the hood. Not the kind of hood that I come from, but you see that white hood, and then you're like, oh, you already know what the vibes are.
I think this was a perfect representation of how racism is bad for white people too, but sometimes they don't even
You don't even know
realize
it.
that.
Yeah. So they let in this vampire because he kind of just like they trust him a little bit. They trust him a little bit because they see the Native Americans coming and they're like, oh, I see what's going on. So they say, okay, he's playing on our team, and then It doesn't turn out right because
They let him
they
in.
let him in, and then now they're under his whole thing. I like I love the parts where they're doing the world building of like because like Smokes and Stack they came back into town to throw like a rager like at a barn, try to make some money, stack some paper, and another part that I like is when they roll into town, they meet like this. There's this Chinese couple, and like there's no beef there. They're like, they're just working. They're just coming out there and they're like greeting each other and just like treating each other like they're like they just been peoples. It's cool to see people treat each other like people, especially back then, and it's cool now to see like that kind of relationship between Asians and African American people just be like completely. It's serene. It's serene, right? The whole like thing of him going into town, like there's no smoke there. There's the guy that like tries to steal from the back of the car and he gets shot in the leg. Both of them get shot in the leg. I laughed at that shit. But yeah, it's cool to see like them come. It's cool to see like that kind of representation for Southern Asians that were in that time period. They were there, and like just to see them like actually be represented is pretty cool. And then like the whole thing about
Apparently, that's a real thing. Like
yeah
there were Chinese people in Mississippi along that time. Because I was like, Chinese people, what are they doing in Mississippi? Like I was
yeah
befuddled, but then it was just like, yeah, these railroads, and then like people traveling back and forth, and then how the Great Migration worked. Like if you were in Mississippi, usually Louisiana will go to California, but
yeah
Mississippi you go to Chicago. But if you went the other way, you could end up in California.
yeah yeah that makes sense. Again, like both of our peoples mixing in southern other ways. The Great Migration was people from the south moving to LA, and that's just what happens.
Detroit, Chicago,
Yeah,
North Carolina, up towards the East Coast.
yeah,
That's where a lot of my folks come from.
yeah, and like you see like this mixing of people in there, and like it's all cool because they're all like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's all work together to make this money, and like for me, it was like, oh yeah, this is cool, this is so cool. Before like the heartbreak, because like
It was like a movie. It wasn't even setting up to be a vampire movie, and then
yeah,
it just switches.
yeah, because yeah, when they get like Preacher Boy comes in there and like he's just like playing his guitar, they're singing in like in the freaking jalopy, going to like the train station to pick up Muddy. I forgot what his name is, but Delroy Lindo's character pick him up from the train station and all that. I was like, yeah, it's cool like to see this kind of community given like something in like theater in the movies because like we don't really see this like in movies like set back then. I mean, there was life and there was the color purple, but all that is like kind of like painted in the sort of like it sucks kind of thing. But to see like these communities like look like they're like kind of thriving when they drive up to the cotton fields and like and talk to that one dude and like, oh man, that's funny. Like when you tell her
Yeah,
like, oh, your wife can. I can't say those things because I don't want to get in trouble by my wife. But like they're snapping and it all just feels lived in, and that's what I loved. Like it feels like a real like thriving community, and you're like kind of cheering these people on for like what they're gonna do because they just want to like they have this beer, they have this whiskey, and they're just trying to like have like make money on like having a concert party thing.
right.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh no, you good. I was listening to you.
Yeah, yeah. So eventually, it comes. So Haley Steinfeld's character, I wanna get this in. Okay, so for our people, again, this mixes up with us. So it's Haley Steinfeld, she's Filipino, so this all goes in a circle, brother. So when I saw her on the screen, I was like, yeah, because I ride for my Filipinos, and like seeing her on screen, and she's like Michael B. Jordan's like ex-girlfriend or whatever. And then like I'm not sure if she is like if she is African American mixed in some way. I don't know, but like in the movie she is playing like a mixed race. They used to call them like passing.
Like passing,
Yeah,
yeah.
passing because she speaks proper. She's light skinned. She has. It's unfortunate to say this. She has the good hair, and like there's like a little thing. They have a little argument but it's all good. And then the other brother, he has what's her name from Loki? What's that? She was also in like freaking thick woman. I love my women thick. I wanna let that be known. I love thick women, and this they made sure to make. I'm gonna look up her name before like I start because I want to give this actress like all the respect. Because like like he goes to like I guess it's like the she's like kind of like a shaman lady kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. She's like a hoodoo lady.
Yeah, hoodoo lady. Cause like I like so she just happened to be the baby mama of like Michael B. Jordan's character. Sadly, the baby had passed, but like she was like doing like this ritual stuff with like these little kids, like having all like these charms and stuff, and like it comes a little bit out of nowhere, but like I think it does represent the South at that time, like having like this person connected to this kind of like
spirituality.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, and like they meet up. She and then they get busy. Wunmi Masaku. Hey, I see you, Queen. Looking real good. I like my women thick and sturdy. But yeah. So they get together. They think that like then she gets part of the party because she's ending up being the bartender. So Preacher Boy's there. He's performing with all these. They're having the time of their life. They're making money. They're playing music. They're only allowing colored people into the barn. That's all they're doing. It's only colors only, and not in the derogatory way where, like because back then there'd be like colored fountains, colored bathrooms, and all that stuff, and it would be like the most fucked up kind of thing.
I think it's interesting how they even acquire the barn, because the whole thing was a setup, like from the Klan or whatever.
Yeah. The couple at the beginning, I guess the father was like, I don't know if he's a mayor or something. He's like a high hoity-toity rich man. So the couple that we meet at the beginning, the man's father actually lent the barn to the people. Skipped it in. He did it so that he could like round up all the people like in the city limits, just to like have them all in one place, so that he could kill them later. They never really explain why he wants them dead, but who cares? They had they're partying, and then all of a sudden, the couple from the beginning and the vampire they let in come to the door, and like this is where it kind of hits for me. Like everything falls apart when you let the white man in, and the thing that I like about this too is they were coming in with and kind of mocking, like we see them nowadays, like the allies. They come in as allies to kind of infiltrate the community, and you kind of trust them because they're saying all these nice things and trying to be like on your side. And they were kind of doing that with whenever they tried to come in. This was the first time they said like, hey, we're just here to play music and we got money to spend. And like instantly you're like, nah, don't, no, because from like, even if I didn't know they were vampires, right, there's a whole reason why they're not letting the white people in, because like you let them in and then like all of a sudden they're gonna call the cops and then all that shit. It's gonna be busted up. The whole party's gonna be busted up because all of a sudden they'll say, yo, y'all shouldn't be here. But anyway, yeah, they try to like charm their way in, like they try to sing their way in, and like the moment like he gives them the coin, Annie's character like sees it and she's like, nah, this not it, and so they kick him out. Unfortunately, Haley Steinfeld's character is like, I could talk to these white people because I kind of look like them, only to be turned. And then when she comes back, she tries to convince like Michael B. Jordan's other character, one of the brothers, like, hey, we could get more money from these people. We just gotta. And then she turns into a vampire, and this is when all the shit like goes down because Michael B. Jordan's other brother, the cousin preacher boy doesn't want to open the door because he sees his big cousin getting it in, and like,
Oh yeah. No, but the funny other part was like when Remick came up, who's a vampire,
yeah,
and they were like, "Hey man, like, y'all clan?" And then Remick, he's an Irish vampire. He's almost offended that
yeah,
he's asked if he was a clan member. He's like, sir, like, do not insult me like this. But like, Remick had already killed the clan members that let him in.
yeah,
He absorbed their memories, and they're his minions now.
yeah,
And I just thought that it showed also how capitalism will drive you to allow people in that you should not be around
yeah,
because they were going to go broke.
yeah, yeah. It's just you see like. Because you see, like them, like he comes in with the shillings. I say shillings because like that's old, like gold. Like where is this gold from? This
Like, where am I spending this at?
Where am I gonna spend this? And like our money works wherever you want it to work, And and he comes in there and he says like he tries to like I think what vampires call it is like glamoring. He's trying to glamour him like, brother, I'm just trying to have fun with all of y'all. We're just trying to be like. Everybody coming together. We accept everyone. And like I'm just like, oh, this sounds familiar to me. And like you just get he's saying all these nice things, but he's saying them and I just have like this uneasy feeling the whole time. And like to like bring it like back to real life, like that's kind of like how I feel sometimes when I'm doing like a job interview and then or like when I'm like getting up for a promotion and like saying if you do this for me, then I'm sure I'll make all your. What did The Rock say? You do this.
All your dreams
I'll
come
make all
true.
your dreams come true. I want that soul. I don't want this.
I want your soul, yo.
I want your soul. It's funny to see The Rock as the vampire in this situation, but like later on down the line, they keep like turning more and more of their people into vampires. They get the Chinese woman's husband. They get like the doorman. And then everything is going on, and then it's just so much good action in there, and I want people to watch this because like you can feel like history and you feel all these themes in it.
Yeah,
and it's
that's a big part of this thing, especially somebody that does music. When you say the history part, there's just this part where they literally take you through the history of like black music in this country, and it's just like. How all this feels connected, and there's a pretty cool Kendrick Lamar song on GNX called "Reincarnated," which kind of does the same thing, but they talk about the ability to summon like the past and the present. Like it's really cool, especially like you're a fan of like time travel, like there's those time elements in it. And I always wonder, like what kind of music would I have been doing? Like if I was alive back then, I would have probably been like a guitar player or something like that. It wasn't a rap or anything, but. It's really interesting from that perspective. And after you're done watching the movie, it's like they weave so many things into it where it could have gone bad. Like as far as like you're trying to do too many difficult things in a movie. And I thought they just walked that fine line of being like, there's this element from it. Like there's a struggle of like, black people. There's like funny moments in this thing. There's like, your music stuff. If you're just, someone that just enjoys good music. And then there's the vampires, like with all your traditional stuff about not letting vampires in, and they do all the stuff about. They basically skip. They be like, "Hey, you already know how we fight vampires. Get the garlic ready." Like everybody kind of like assumes vampires are real. You might want to chalk that up to them this being a long movie, and they had to kind of do that. But I appreciate it because we knew what we were there for.
You know what it is. You know what it is. We got to get the crosses. We got to get the holy water. We got to get the garlic.
Yep. Like y'all done seen a vampire movie before.
Yeah. Y'all, like I like it that they don't treat their audience like they're stupid. That's what I like. Cause like you get treated like a kid, then you're gonna be like kind of taken out of it. Cause sometimes a lot of shit's like you gotta explain everything, and you see that on YouTube.
And when I gotta watch like a vampire movie, and I just have to watch every single one of them, like. Just so many people die before someone like wakes up and sees what's going on. I'm like, no, man, get to it.
Yeah, I love that they were like instantly, Nah, it's vampires. They're vampires. We got garlic water. We got wooden stakes.
Yeah.
It's all good. I mean, it's not all
They're
good.
vampires or they're haints, and I think they're vampires. Let's
Yeah.
go.
And then the part where it all gets fucked up is like, because my wife, she told me like, if anybody, she can make fun of me, but if anybody makes fun of me, she's gonna cut their throats. And like the vampire knows this because the lead vampire, what Remick, he knows this because like he absorbed like the husband, so he starts talking shit like saying, "Hey, we're gonna go for your daughter. If you don't come out,
Yo,
we're going right to the store." And like she's like, come the fuck in, motherfucker. I'm gonna fuck you up." And then
mm,
that's when it all sets it all up. I feel bad. I wanted to apologize for my people. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that we did this to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm like, well, like he gets set off, all that stuff, and then I go to the like preacher boy goes back to the church, and then, like his daddy says like, boy, you got to give up the music. You got to give up the music, and he doesn't. Uh,
right.
they show him driving off with like the silver plate. I think that's the thing that's what causes the vampires to all congregate into one space, and then yeah, and then he further along the line he gets old. He goes to a bar, and big cousin shows up with Haley Steinfeld, and that drip was immaculate. Oh
Yeah,
man,
it was like 1992 in this time, so they show up in like a Coogee sweater, and then she's dressed like, a woman in the early 90s, and there had
she
been
looked
this,
good, man. She
yeah,
looked good.
there had been this deal struck between Smoke and Stack. Like it was like, hey man, let Preacher Boy live or whatever. If you know, as they had their duel,
Yeah,
and then the thing was like they was like, "Hey, Preacher Boy, you sure you don't want to be a vampire? You don't want to come and hang around?" And he's like, "Nah, I was able to have my life and
yeah,
did everything."
yeah,
So and he
yeah.
turns him down at the end.
Yeah, but it was cool because like the head vampire died, so they got to be themselves
Yeah,
for the most, because like it kind of showed like they still kind of had their emotions still, because like when Annie died because got stabbed before she got turned into a vampire, like they were sad, they were like hurt because they didn't want her to die because that's like their friend, and like
yeah,
in their memory is like, oh, we can have you live forever, live with us. Part of that, like the other Michael B. Jordan actually dies because, and it's one of the best things because these two came back from World War I, and like I guess the big brother was like a sniper in the regiment or something, and he always
right.
made sure that little brother was alive. He said like, I kept your ass alive for whatever long, and like so the whole plan was for the clan to come in there with the whole like barn full of black folks and colored folks in general, just having them there so that they could just massacre them, because they came in there with like the Tommy guns, like, and like of course like Michael B. Jordan's gonna handle business. And then at the end like it's just him, and like he kills all of them. He kills all the clan members, and you're like going, oh hell yeah, because like just seeing a racist die, kill that white racist, kill that white supremacist. Um, it's always a good feeling in a movie, no matter what. Yeah, but it's just like it's at the end, like he sees his woman, he sees his passed away baby waiting for him on the other side, and like they're telling him to like come to peace, and then like he's like about to fade out, but then like he goes back up, and then he just blasts. He takes a Tommy gun and blasts the clan, the mayor dad guy, and then
He shot the hell out of them.
he shot him, and it was cool. It was filmed so good. It's cool to see squibs and like that kind of stuff instead of like just seeing CGI bullets and all that, because like they really put money in like making sure like you felt all like the shots, all the violence. Because usually like now like even sometimes in John Wick you see like them having like the CGI like blood, and it's just like it kind of takes it away from me. So seeing like actual like special effects used where like you see like the blood dripping from them when they got shot, and you see the effects of like the bullets like boop, 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 boop. It was cool. And then you see like him being at peace with his family, and you're like, okay, that's a good ending. And like the movie, my wife loved it, I loved it. It's just Ryan Coogler just makes good ass movies, man. I love Fruitvale Station.
I've actually never seen that.
Oh,
But I'm already in on the Cooler and
Yeah,
Michael B. Jordan pairing from the
yeah.
Creed series.
Creed. Oh yeah, we could talk Creed because like man, that whole movie series that was dope. The Creed 3. I know Jonathan Majors is a piece of shit, woman beater, whatever. But I did like him in Magazine Dreams. That was a good movie. Uh,
He was awesome in this movie too, in Creed 3, and it was just
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's so unfortunate that like whatever like if he comes back in the Creed stuff, it's gonna be a big thing hanging over the movie and
yeah,
stuff. And it's like, fuck, like why couldn't you just be normal?
yeah,
Like,
man.
damn, like
Yeah, like he came out and he admitted to it too, and I'm like, oh man, okay. But I watched Magazine Dreams. He was good in that. He's a very John Major's really talented actor. But seeing like the fight scenes in like, I know you don't watch anime. I know you don't. You've intimated that many times. But like Michael B. Jordan, big Naruto fan, big Hajime no Ippo fan, big fan of Bleach. That dude, you met them. Like you
yeah,
had those friends that's like, hey yo, my name is Deshaun, but you can call me Ryu. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna call you Ryu, cause I'm a dragon. I'm like, oh, okay, bro. I have some of those friends. They make of it. My name is Shadow. Your name's not Shadow. Anyway, but yeah, like that whole movie, like the fight scenes when they're like just it's them, and when he has them against the cage and unleashes like all those body shots, and like that whole kind of visual, I was like, man, this fucking rules. Because all of the fights from Creed 1 and Creed 2 and in Creed 3, they're all filmed differently, and this one felt like just more theatrical. And man, I love the Creed series. I love Rocky in general.
same.
Yeah, because
I hope they make them forever. Just keep turning it over, find somebody to carry
uh,
the series, and you know.
I know you don't watch anime, but he said he's gonna make an anime out of whatever Creed was. Cause
Oh wow, okay.
so, I mean that's what he said. I hope so. I hope he gets like a really good animation studio, because like if they make a real like Creed anime, I'd watch the shit out that.
Right.
Especially if he does his own voice, that'd be dope. Yeah, man. We talked a little bit wrestling, but I just want to say, man, again, like it's such an honor to have you on here, man. It's real cool to chop it up with you. I knew like off the rip we get along because I don't know. Sometimes you get vibes from people like just being on like just talking to them, man. We've been talking like and like I knew this would be like something that something that I'd love to do, and hopefully I could have you on it again sometime, because like
Absolutely, man.
this this is what I think is really good, man. We come from two different cultures, two different backgrounds, but like I always try to back together. Like I support you, I support what you do, and I have a love for like your podcast. I have a love for your music is dope, brother. That's like it's
Appreciate it, man.
it's like I put on Fight Forever just to hear your just to hear your music, man. I see. Oh, I put it on. It's like I tell my cousin, hey, look, hey, yo, that's my homie. That's his music on there. Like, and I'm like it's cool to like just like hear your stuff, man. And yeah, it's just this whole thing just to tie it back to like the Buffalo Soldiers who like bonded with the Filipinos when they came over. Like now here we are, 2025, Filipino, African American, we bonding over something again, just to bring it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, yeah, man. I'm gonna drop this because I think it's important. This is actually gonna be the season finale right now of my show, and like it's been so fun to do all of these. It's been so fun to record. It's been so fun to have these conversations with all these different people from all these different parts of the world, and I felt like it'd be the right thing to do like my season finale with you, because like I said at the beginning of the show, you're the reason why I really dove head first into this. And yeah, man, you made me find a passion for something that I didn't know I was passionate about, so I just want to thank you.
Oh man, you're welcome, man. I'm glad that to have sparked something in you. And
Yeah.
if I can offer one more thing, it's just to say is just keep going. Never know where it will take you. Never know who you will be talking to.
Yeah. I got these is my last two questions I gotta ask because this is what I ask on every show is like, so I'm a member of the blood sugar line. I got the sugar. But there's one thing I love the most out of anything else in the world. It's sweets. So what's your favorite dessert, man?
My favorite dessert. I want to say I am an ice cream man.
Hell yeah.
Like doesn't really matter what kind. I typically like I've got some pecan and pralines, bluebell downstairs.
Ooh.
Even while I'm training and taekwondo and stuff like that, I always make a little bit of time for some ice cream. When I feel like I've hit a new
Oh.
plateau or whatever. I also like tres leches. You know, the three milk cake is really good as well.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah, I forgot about you doing taekwondo. So I'm a black belt in taekwondo. I did
Oh, nice.
I'm secondary black belt. That's not like really impressive, but that was like 30 years, was that 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I did my black belt stuff. But yeah, man, like when I heard you doing like martial arts and like, teaching these kids like what it is,
Respect, honor.
respect, telling them they talking mess in the dojang. We call it the dojang because the taekwondo is Korean. I forgot about my one AK. I was like, 안녕하세요. This man does taekwondo, so put paper in his account because he out there throwing them kicks, breaking bricks. His name at Rich Latta, and like, that shit is cheesy, but like I was like, damn, I forgot about that. But but I got it in now. I like my Uso says, you got to get in where you fit in, so I got it in.
Yep.
And like I gotta say this again, like yo man, this has been incredible. I also because I'm not original for all my stuff. I always had to pay homage to people. I always call you and James the Jesus and Meryl of pro wrestling. And I gotta say, like like, I gotta say, man, when they left and you still here, you guys do audio art. I gotta give it up to you because, like, I know you said like facetiously the blackest podcast and all that, and like, but like to me, y'all put it the work in. Y'all is iconic, and I gotta give you like your due because y'all is the blackest wrestling podcast, and like yeah, and to steal from like Jesus Amero, I was like, hey, so what do you want your rainbow to say? What rainbow does Rich Latta want to tell the world, like his message?
Um, that is a difficult question. I guess from a personal perspective, I would say just someone that went after and tried different things. Right now, I just started doing the WNBA coverage. I've been probably doing it like 6 months or so. I'm just going to see where it takes me, and it's
Yo,
already like taken off for me on my YouTube channel already. I would say with the music stuff, I would say just somebody that was true to himself, true to the spirit of the game, and it's be able to do what you want to do in life and don't worry about all the reactions to it. If somebody says they're hating on it, whatever, like it just takes a lot to do it and put it out. Like
yeah,
that takes a lot of courage to have just to put it out because you're putting once you remove the judgment from it, it's like what is really stopping you? Like I'll put out anything, like and not care about negative reception to it. I appreciate the positive reception,
yeah,
but when you put stuff out for the reception, I think you kind of lose it. You got to put it out for yourself. So maybe I can encourage people to just put things out for themselves.
yeah. Man, I'm gonna take that and run with it because I'm I I did put this like on one of my descriptions of the show. I said this is for us by us. This is for me by me, and uh, you know talk about big three, just the big me. And like yeah, man.
Can't marry
This,
yourself to the results. It's like you
yeah,
got a ball without the scoreboard. I remember when I was growing up, my cousin Steven, we used to play basketball games at midnight, like
yo,
in the parks and stuff like that. But the thing was, like, we would play, but without keeping score. And then the whole thing was just like, how hard can you go for how long can you play or whatever,
yeah,
and then you'll know if you were winning, if you were losing, how you felt about it. The score is not really important, so don't worry about the numbers. Just like, whatever you put into it, you'll know if it was worth it.
yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on, man. It's been like uh, real good. And I know I was happy to share all this knowledge with you and open your third eye because we're talking about the power of the pyramid. Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks you, man.